Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Pantheon Plus, episode number 71, and we are so excited to be here. We got some animations, we got some new skills for classes. We even have a new class today, Cleric, coming out of the woodwork. So lots to talk about, very exciting. Chat is all fired up. Chat was fired up with in the actual dev stream too. There was quite a bit of beans dropped today, so very excited. Therek, what do you think?
Well, where to start? Where to start? I mean, talking beans, the big one, but like the character customization details revealed for the first time. I thought that was pretty cool. I have lots of thoughts on that, but I can't get past those class skill updates. When talking when I used to talk to Midas more often, he really brought me into the addiction of analyzing class skills down to the most minute detail. And there's such a joy in doing that, and there's such a creativity when you get into it like that. So I'm trying to read everything on the screen. I'm trying to think about everything they're showed tonight because there's just so much of it. And man, the Enchanter is looking so good. I love the Enchanter. I can't wait. There's so many changes they made that don't actually make the Enchanter more powerful, but I think make the Enchanter so much more interesting. We'll get into it, I'm sure, but man, that's what's hitting me right now.
Breaking news: Theric is considering a main switch to Enchanter. Breaking news.
Only because we haven't seen the Ranger, so trust me, once the Ranger gets here, the Enchanter will become the redheaded stepchild of my life. But
Till then, it's all Enchanter all the time.
until then, it's all Enchanter.
What about you, Nathan?
Yeah, I think for me, I think the animations and the way that they've got everything laid out now for the facial expressions, etc. I think that kind of stole the show for me. Looks really good. I mean, the thing about the way they presented that too was they kind of showed us without the full like skin texture on it first, and I think it really didn't come together until they added in the lighting and the armor, and we could really see what a character would actually look like. That it really kind of hit you how big of a difference this is from the old models. And I've I've had a lot of people come and tell me over time that like they thought there was something um, not correct with the anatomy of the humans before. Um, and now I think they've nailed it. So really cool, and also just a really excellent interview altogether.
Yeah, the alien head phenomena it
Yeah.
was really apparent when you put it next to the new models. Like you're like,
Yeah.
oh, those are almost erudites from EverQuest, right? Like that's
The
crazy.
giant forehead. Yeah, I didn't realize it until they showed it in this context. Like, wow, how did I not see that before? They were seriously alien heads. Craziness.
That's so crazy.
What about you, Draq? What stood out to you, man?
Well, I like the cleric. I like the cleric updates. I like the rigging and stuff. But it for me I wanted to see the other races, right? We've seen a lot of humans and the updates are nice, they're cool, right? But it doesn't get to pass up class information unless it would have been all the races or more races, a couple more races, because we've seen the humans and we've seen them with armor and stuff. So I think the class information for me is the best stuff. I love the idea of the cleric. I love the idea of a different type of hero, a cleric, a melee cleric that's on the front lines, that's kind of healing, kind of
Hmm.
almost like a quasi paladin. Like I think somebody in chat said, like, how are they going to balance the cleric with the paladin, right? Like, how's that going to work with the dynamic there, with them kind of being the same on the front line but having heals. So I think that's going to be super interesting and super um, just fun to watch how that all plays out. And I like the skills for the cleric so far, the shielding and and that type of thing. And the book to me is also super interesting. What exactly is the book going to do? Is it going to give you extra skills, extra power? Like how's that going to work? Why would I ever trade my shield for a book if
Here's
I'm
here's what I here's my takeaway from that, because I had the same exact question. And so two things. They said the books, there's going to be different books that do different things, and the sort of scaling up in power over the course of your character's lifetime. The other thing is too, I mean, it's basically dependent on how good the offhand items in game for clerics are. You know,
Right.
are there really good, like several good offhand items for clerics to use, like a shield that is just, nuts, or another item? Because it's going to be, those are two are really going to play off each other. If one's great and one's really lacking, you're never going to see, an offhand item. They're always going to have the summon book, or if it's the other way around, you're never going to see them use that spell. But those are my first impressions, because I had the same question as you.
In past MMOs, when you summon items rather than equip items, it's almost always less than an item that you can loot. Like that skill, and at end game, or once you've start hitting raid targets, that skill isn't as used as much, because you want the stats on the shield, right? Or whatever your secondary item is. And it's almost always better to have that than it is the skill. So I hope they get around that. I hope they don't do that. I hope, if they're going to make it a skill with a book that appears in your hand, it needs to be equal to and somehow upgradable. So like maybe the dragon drops an upgraded spell for your book or whatever. It needs to be on the same playing field. Otherwise, it's just going to go by the wayside.
Yeah. The one they showed restores health with every hit. So that
Right.
was the effect of the summon book they show. I mean, which is good, which is pretty good if you're making a frontline cleric. I mean, keeping yourself alive just through your damage while you can heal other people is, seems good. But like everything else, it's going to depend on the context and the situations they find themselves in.
And it could be a thing just there to supplement builds, right? It could be a thing where it's like, well, with my particular build, I feel like I'm not getting enough mana regen, so therefore I would
Right.
rather use this book that's going to give me a little extra mana regen, etc. So it could be one of those things that people take into different builds.
Yeah, interesting. Or like their special, I forget what the cleric's special resource is. I know it's got one, but I forget what it is. Maybe it adds to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing you mentioned, Draq, and just I think everybody's probably thinking the same thing, is, why are we seeing the humans again? I had the same question, of course. I wanted to see the Darkmer. I wanted to see the new
Right.
models. I think that's absolutely what everybody was hoping to see. But the good thing is, in the way I sort of what I heard, they started off the interview with asking, why was there a need to redo it in the first place? Why was there a need to redo the humans? Was it just an aesthetic thing to make them look better and get rid of the alien heads, or was there more to it? And it was really important that they said that there was a problem. Like there was a problem with armor fitting, in that you can't, they couldn't move on. Why would they move on to anything else if there was a problem that was going to affect everything, rather than fix the problem and do an aesthetic, update or optimization, I guess is the way they put it. If there was an underlying problem that was going to affect everything. So I get it. And we did get a timeline on the other races being done. They said they want to have them done, half of them done by the end of the year, which is not that far off, and then finished. I think they said late spring, if I'm not, if I wrote it down right. But yeah, by the end of spring next year.
Next
So,
year, yeah.
So
Yeah.
at
Two
least
to
we got a
three
timeline
weeks
on it.
per 2 to 3 weeks, she thinks, based on the way they got it structured per race. So pretty cool, pretty fast. And Darkmer is up next, so we'll be seeing that, and I cannot wait. I mean, the best we ever got was when they showed the models. Gosh, it was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I want to say this too, that like now that they actually have their animators and everything in place and the rigging, and you can obviously see there's some massive, we can kind of see the talent behind the animations, and also the human models don't no longer look generic. We're starting to see what Pantheon's art style is, and we really haven't gotten to see that yet, to be honest, because we weren't seeing the final models. So being able to see them now, and they are a little stylized, right? They're not going for ultra realism here. They're going for something that is in the realm of real, but also looks unique. You know what I'm saying? Which is, I think, super important. So when people see any screenshot from Pantheon, they know that's Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, right? They don't get it confused with anything else. So
I kind of feel like that was there already a little bit for me, Nathan. Like I'm thinking about the monk video when they showcase the monk
sure.
skills. Like you really get a good look at the human model in that video,
Mhm.
because he's up close, and it's just there's no shirt on, and I thought they had a unique look for their models already, and I kind of like them. I felt like they were a little bit older, on the older side. Maybe it's my bias as an older, as being an older gamer type of thing. But like, I feel like these models definitely have a younger appearance
You're
to them,
right.
and
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah. Yeah,
so
you are right about that. Yeah, it does. It looks more modern. It looks like a more modern design. Yeah.
which to me puts them a little closer to a less unique look, I guess. But again, it has to work, function properly, and they talked about that quite a bit. I thought that they did a good job of explaining why function has to really come first, and then you can build on top of that. So um, I'm not fretting that the old models are gone. Again, the alien heads were definitely a problem, but um, yeah, and these models look really, really good to me too, especially at the end. What did you guys think? That end with the
Yeah,
armor and
the
stuff?
armor.
Oh my
It
gosh.
looks really good with the armor.
Yeah,
For
it
sure.
looked really
Wow.
good. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Therek wants to go back to his half elf ranger in EverQuest. That's the exact graphics he wants. So
Pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah.
Lukeland
Half
models
elves.
or
no,
I
original.
never did the Lookland models. That was after my time with EverQuest. So I was an OG model guy.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, all right. Well, we've talked a little bit, but this is a community show. It's all about the community because community matters, and we want to hear what you have to say. We want to see what you have to say about the dev stream, what you liked, what you didn't like. The Discord, which I'm going to post in chat right here. You can hop in there and then you can join our green room, and then we will pull you into the chat here to talk with us live, and you can give us our opinions, good and bad. There's been plenty of people that have come on that have criticized. We take everything, and I love some good criticism. So give us your best shot.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah, come hurt our feelings.
Come hurt our feelings.
Right.
So Therek, you want to pick
Yeah.
our first person here?
I will. Yep. So if you're in the green room, just make sure you're unmuted and undeafened. So I know you're ready to go. Crypt Fox has been hanging out in there since way
Oh,
before the stream even started.
he was on before I got on.
I know he was before yeah, all of us jumped in there. So Crypt Fox, you are coming on the show right now. What's up, Crypt?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you
How's it
doing?
going?
Doing great.
Feel like we just
Crip was trying to talk to me when you guys were yanking me around, by the way. And he'd be like, hey, what's up, Nate? And I'd be like, hey! And then I'd be yanked out. So
Yeah.
what's up, Crip? Finally get to say it.
I know, right? I was like total sad face. I was like, oh, Nathan doesn't want to talk to me.
Nathan
Yeah,
didn't
by
have
the
any
way-
control.
Draq
by the
was
way,
dragging me around.
in chat, you can see Crypt Fox, a link to Crypt Fox's Twitch channel. He is a pro streamer and Pantheon friend of ours. We stream on Tuesday nights with him for the 101, and good friend of ours. So what did you think about this stream, Crypt? What are your thoughts and reflections on it?
My first reflection was that I missed the first 6 minutes of the stream, so I missed the Enchanter and the Rogue.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, I took good notes, so I can catch you up if you need. But what
Yeah, I was really digging the art style. It's pretty spot on with what I had like hoped it would be because I've seen like really fantastical characters in other games, and I just like the warmth coming off of these characters, if that makes sense.
anything you would compare it to? Like you say, you've seen really fantastical creatures like in other games. Like, so what do you think? And what, what's your comp? Like, what's the closest thing you would say you've seen to this?
Let me see. Closest thing to this, I would probably say, like Vanguard, as far
Right.
back as Vanguard. Yeah.
It's a good example. Yeah, for sure. I thought that I like some character models in Vanguard. I still, when I go on the emulator and I look at those models, I'm like, I could play this. It's still
Yeah, someone in
reasonable.
chat was talking about this. It is kind of true. Like Vanguard had good graphics, but there was something. There was some kind of life missing from the character models. Do you know what I mean? Like there was something just not all the way there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, usually like when you're looking at somebody or like a character model, you get that warmth, you get that like that soul or that feeling from them in the eyes and the mouth. So
Yes.
it was
Mhm.
probably right around there.
So are you happy about the customization of your character then that they showed? Is that something that, because you want that for your character, I'm guessing in game. Uh,
Yeah, I do, but at the same time, I don't want to walk around or see people, be grossly disproportionate, you know? Uh,
I'm sure there'll be limits. I mean,
yeah,
every character creator has limits.
yeah. And
and yet people still find ways around
I'm
it.
sure.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, I think we should see like, fat characters, skinny characters, really tall, really short. It needs to be, some variation in there. I think I saw somebody say that they wanted to be like a fat monk. I was like, that's
Yeah,
actually kind of cool,
it is cool.
Yeah.
I like that too when you get a little bit of option with that. With the more you get with that, the better I think, and the more varied your world's going to be. Um, but like Draq was saying, I think there needs to be a limit. Like, what if you could make your human so short he hung out with like the halflings and nobody knew the difference. Like he was a
Yeah.
secret human
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
pretending to be a halfling.
also, usually when you make those types of characters, it really messes up your armor, right? You start to get to the point where you see through stuff and things get
Yeah,
weird if you go too far on the thing. It is interesting though that I believe this is the first time that they've talked about actually having a character creator, right? Did
Yeah.
they said that in the video that there was a character creator and that they wanted lots of options in it. They've never actually specifically, I don't think, admitted to having a character creator or anything like that in place. So, I mean, we all
Yeah.
knew they would, but
Yeah.
I
What?
wasn't expecting it to be. I mean, even from the little bit of description we got, though, I was expecting Pantheon to be pick a head, pick a hair, pick a
right,
beard,
it
you
does
know,
not look like it's going to be
pick
that
a
way.
face. Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks
that's
like
what they
that's going
said
to
it
be.
was. They said it was basically all you could do is swap your heads. Like
Which I would have
I,
been okay with that.
I wouldn't have been
yeah.
okay with that. No, I need more than that, man. That's not enough for me. Like you're gonna end up with like so many similar. Everybody's gonna look the same. Like
True.
I don't want a level of like I don't want Black Desert Online level of customization. I don't. We're not getting that. But there needed to be a little bit more. Uh, flexibility in terms of what your appearance is in Pantheon. I don't think just a swappable head would have cut it. People would have been choked. So, and something you said, Crypt, about the different body sizes. That was again something they touched on in terms of like why this had to be done because now the rigging and the armor all has to account for different body types, different body sizes, and
Yeah.
I think they did a good job of explaining that. There's a lot of tech speak that a little bit over my head with regard to the modeling and the rigging, but the reasons behind it were very clear to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like talking on like abilities, even though I only saw like a little bit of the cleric before I started thinking about crying myself to sleep at night. But I remembered there is a VOD. I will go back and watch it. Uh I like the variability of the abilities based around like the weapons. That way you could be like an upfront cleric, backline cleric, whatever. Uh anything anytime you have a class and you can play a variation of that class on the spectrum is just really intriguing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there were some really good examples of that. Maybe not in the cleric that I saw, or like in the cleric specifically, but I think there was something with regard to the. I'm trying to look at my notes here, but the rogue, real flexibility in terms of how you build your rogue. Some of the skills, some leaned into. There was one that leaned into like dexterity and agility equally, but there was another one that leaned into a different ability. I think intelligence was again something like we saw with the Dire Lord in the last stream, where the intellect attribute affected the how the skill worked necessarily, the
Mhm.
strength of the skill. And again, and Minus even referenced it on the stream, talking about crushing weapons. Like there's a technique that was specific to the rogues that involved using a crushing weapon, which is very unorthodox for a rogue, right? So
Oh yeah. Like I think there's a lot of like EQA influence in VR because like that concept of like making every stat purposeful. I saw that playing EQOA. You have like a magical weapon that has the ability to proc like fire damage based on your character's intelligence you're able to, harness that magic from that weapon more often. So I think that's the reasoning behind decisions like that.
Yeah.
It'd be super
Yeah,
cool if they
good
pull that
stuff.
off.
Yeah, EQOA, it came out shortly after EQ, and they had the concept there, and I think Roenick played EQOA.
Yeah,
Nice.
some influence. Anything else, Crip, before we say goodbye?
That's all. Thanks for talking with me, guys.
Oh, thanks, man. Talk to you later.
Yeah, have a
Bye.
good one, man.
Yeah,
See
see you
ya.
later, Crip.
All right. One down, few to go. We got how about Desrin? Let's get Desrin in here. He was chatting it up
Oh,
during the stream. He had lots to say. I know I think
are we
I
ready
think
for Desrin? This is a little early for him, isn't
It is a
Yeah.
little early.
I know, but we
Man.
gotta keep it even. We can't make him the caboose all the time. So Desrin, let's bring Desrin in. What's up, Des?
What's up, guys?
What's going
Hey,
on?
Des. Give me just a second before you start, Des. I gotta add this whiskey to my Dr. Pepper.
Oh man, you're making me jealous, man.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking tonight, Desrin? Anything or just no?
I'm drinking flavored water. I know, just
Oh, killer.
yeah. So speaking of things that I want in my hands right now, uh, these cleric changes, man. I mean, all the class changes, but I think this just finally opened up what these classes are really going to be, especially when it comes to cleric. We've had so many questions about what does barrier healing look like? What is their style going to be? And man, if you compare this to the shaman, how different are they?
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks
yeah,
it's way different.
really different. You know, not the typical cleric that we saw. Again, they talked about specialized on the front lines. There's one of the skills, and I want to look at my notes here because I was really interested in it. The Celestial Guard. So this is the one that restores health, places an absorption shield on the target, and the shield basically is the lower the health they are, the more healing that's done, the better the shield is, right? So
Yeah, I literally had that in front of me when when you mentioned this. So,
sharing a
yep.
brain.
How interesting of an ability. I love how it's not particularly straightforward. You have to understand what it's doing in order to know how to maximize, right?
Somebody in chat during the stream said, "Now your clerics are all playing games of chicken."
I
Right? They're
know,
all
right? I can see
Yeah,
it right
dude.
now. They're like, hold on. It's not below 20% yet. I can't heal.
I think
That's
it's to
very true.
5%. I promise I will heal you. And they're like, no, do it.
The tank's just sitting there sweating, just like, oh.
That's
It's so
awesome.
good. But that also, with them kind of linking or bonding themselves to a particular target is it really emphasizes a certain kind of like main healer role without just making them heal bots.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, very true. And you know what I was thinking with the cleric today was like they'll be meleeing, right? For the most part, they'll be in the action, and also they got that invigorate, which helps the other melee be able to get their endurance back, so they can continue pounding out more of their juicy bits, whatever that melee is doing. And they'll be healing while they're beating. So you know what I'm saying? Like it is.
Yeah.
Right. With
It
the tome in
sounds
their
pretty
hand like that.
addictive, doesn't it? It sounds
That
really
was
addictive.
such a huge drop to me. I mean, I think everyone wanted a bit of that, healing through damage. That kind of mechanic as a healer has always been fun. I mean, they added something like that to the Warden in EQ2, and I had a blast with it. Every game I think that has added some way to transform your DPS into healing has just been such a fun mechanic. And so seeing the cleric actually start getting that is really exciting.
Yeah, this adds a lot of tension. No lazy healing, like no disengaged healing. You are now there's a tension going on here. I actually wonder if, they lower the threshold even more to below 20% of your health, like you might be even better, but that's a tuning thing. But yeah, very cool. So the cleric really, really caught your eye, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will admit, while this is the main thing I was going to talk about, because it's kind of the low-hanging fruit, you know how I like classes.
Mhm.
and I'm sure we'll talk about all the classes a bit later. But can I just throw out here that Terra and Duarte were an absolute treat. I know they spoke a little bit of game devies a little bit. And you guys know I enjoy that. But that was such a great segment, and they did so great trying to explain a little bit of what's going on. And there's so much information in that segment. I've yet to unpack all of it, but that was such a nice little dive. In addition to the footage in the background.
I almost asked you during the stream in chat what a try is, because I don't know what a try is. They said
Well, let me
27,000.
tell you about.
Is it just a shorthand for triangle? Am I just like overthinking
Yeah,
this or what?
you could think of it like that. A lot of modelers will use tries or quads. There's a bit of kind of debate back and forth, which is the more proper standard term. But a lot of people used to say polygons, right? You could think of it in that kind of sense. It doesn't really matter for us, but you can kind of take away, like they said, they went from 27,000 tries to 22,000 in the new model. And I would argue the new model looks better. So you would see that as nice optimization.
That's what Nathan and I were going to say too. We were just about to say that.
Well, sorry, I took
That's a joke.
stream.
We weren't going to say that.
Nobody speaks the language except Desrin. He's the only one that understands the language of programming and design.
So on that note, though, with the polys and animation and all that, I can't talk about this enough, and I hope it plays in the background, like while we're on here. That emote with the axe, there's so much character in that, and I hope it makes it into the game. It was so fun, and I think gives a little insight into maybe the character of the animation team with these models.
It's good.
Oh, judging by the way Minus gushed about it, I think it's making it into the game. I think he's got inside track on that.
And didn't it feel very human too? Didn't it feel like a human, like a boisterous little some tank of some sort, being like, aha, like, you know, I loved it. I thought it was good.
It's the Canadian that cuts down all the trees with one swing. Who's that guy?
I have no idea what you're talking. No, it's not me. I'll tell you that much. It's not me. I don't know who that is.
With the ox, the purple ox or something like that.
Isn't that like Paul Bunyan?
Yeah, Paul Bunyan. That's what I was looking for.
Bunyan. There you go.
Ah, there you go.
He's American. He's not Canadian. What are you talking about?
Wow.
Well, how do you think he got here? He was obviously he came down from Canada. Come on, you see that flannel shirt, dude?
Yeah, that's true.
Now that you've offended half of our audience,
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I'm pretty sure is correct.
Well, I almost said they got off the Bounty paper towel package, but that would have been wrong. So it wasn't that guy.
Well, yeah, they did a bit of Mr. Clean, you could say. With
that's true. Wow, Des, nice transition there.
Really though, I think the animation speaks to a bit of things that I was saying in chat, or seeing in chat. I mean, about maybe being more realistic versus stylized, and people getting more concerned as we go to HDRP and a more realistic looking model. But I think that animation was so key to this segment because it emphasized how well the model looks, arguably more realistic. I would say, without a shadow of a doubt, there's so much more style to the models, and now we're seeing the animations that I think will make it not feel like just a reality sim, but actually, have this flair of Pantheon. And just it was really important that they showed that, I think. And I don't know, do you guys think they demonstrated that these models and animations are going to make it feel like Pantheon, or is it just kind of like reality 2.0?
No, I think you're right. I definitely got those vibes. I got those vibes that this is a very unique, it's its own thing. I can't really compare what I saw. And I have a really bad tendency to see things and then imagine like what that will actually end up being like. But it really didn't necessarily remind me of anything. It just looked really good and unique and cool, so it's not copying anybody. It's its own thing. And that's what I kind of got out of it.
I think I need to see it in game too. Like the models spinning
sure.
around. Like, I mean, it looks cool, but like I don't know what I'm looking at in relation to other things and how it fits in, right? So I can't. I don't know. I just can't
Gotta
see it without the whole context there.
gotta imagine.
Yeah.
You gotta use imagination for that.
That's fair, though,
I
and I
leave that
think
to
a
the
lot of
enchanters. Wizards have no
yeah, I think a lot
imagination.
of people would agree that, seeing things in an isolated way like this versus seeing them in a game is a bit like, a little too much of a preview. Hopefully, at the rate they're cranking these out, though, we do see some in-game footage pretty soon. I'm really
Yeah,
cross my fingers. But on that note,
absolutely.
there are some other names in the green room that I think
Yes.
y'all should get to.
Yes. All right. Right on, Des. Well, hey, Ollie, we'll talk to you soon, and we'll see everybody on the rewind this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Later, dude.
While Therek's pulling the next person in, I just want to say because Therek was mentioning about how it's more you're gonna have to pay attention, you can't fall asleep. This just like promotes the whole idea of not being able to box Pantheon a lot, right? Because if you're gonna have to be
Yeah.
that cleric, and you're gonna have to be paying attention, you're not gonna be able to sit in back and press the 3 key every once in a while and give yourself a heal on the box, right? You're gonna have to
Man,
be paying attention.
I hope that Visionary Realms has thought about how they're hurting the book economy by this. There'll be a lot less books read.
Right. better get that Dragonlance book series read before Pantheon comes out.
Yeah, those, I know you were saving it for your healing sessions, but there's
Oh,
not gonna be
man.
time. It's not
I'm
gonna be
in
time.
trouble. I gotta go, guys. I got things to do. Oh boy. Yeah, just so everybody watching, we had 67 people here. Just don't duck out before the end. We're gonna have some special, a little surprise at the end for everybody, and I think you'll like it. So stick around. Anyway, let's get to our next guest. How about Sarah? Everybody what do you guys say? Want to talk to
Yeah,
Sarah?
for sure.
All right, Sarah, unmute yourself, and I will pull you into the show as soon as you're unmuted. There you go. Right on. Hey, Sarah, how's it going?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, of course. Yeah, welcome. So
Hello.
what's going on? What'd you think?
I thought, where are the elves?
Where are the elves?
I wasn't. Oh, thank you. My cat is amazing. I wasn't really expecting to see any. We haven't been hearing any rumors about any updates on any of that, but still, my heart was longing. It'll just have to continue to long for a while, I guess.
Yeah, you and me both. You and me both. We're elves at our core,
For
but
sure.
good things come to those who wait. That's what I say.
Yeah. And you guys were talking about like seeing the humans again, and like we've seen the humans the most. Like, why is that what they showed in this preview? And I think they did that because we have seen the humans before. Like we're
Right.
the most familiar with them, so this was their way to show us the changes. Because if you just show off a brand new, race that we haven't really seen that much of, you wouldn't have been able to tell what the difference really was. So that was their way of showcasing how many changes they made, and in my opinion, how vast the improvement is. So I get why they did that, but man, I can't wait to see the elves.
Yeah,
What
I'm kind of
about?
curious. Go ahead, Draq. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, what did you think of the female characters? Because I know that, like, dude, when I look at like female characters and when my wife looks at female characters, it's totally different, right? So,
I appreciate the changes because I've showed this before in like our, guild Discord. Most female characters in games have like no torso and they're all legs. Like the proportions are ridiculous. And Pantheon already started off with better proportions than some games, but when you see the difference of the two next to each other, like, oh yeah, that's what people actually look like. So I appreciate it. I'm glad that, especially me, I'm 4'11". I don't have any legs, so I can actually relate to it personally.
Me and my wife talk about this all the time. How a lot of MMOs. I'm looking at you, EverQuest.
Yep.
It's almost as if the developers have never even seen a woman. Like the hairstyles and etc. It's like, no, that's not even a correct ponytail. Like that's not even where a ponytail belongs on the head. Like me and my wife have talked about that 100 times, and she has been like, "Man, please let them get a female artist so their hair doesn't look as bad as like." Because she's always like, my wife categorizes Pantheon with the super nerd MMO. That's what she calls it. So like EverQuest, Vanguard, this one, Pantheon, but she's like, this will be the first super nerd MMO that possibly will have decent looking female models. So
Yep, I agree. I agree. And I saw some people in chat, they were like, "Oh, but I like the old models' butts better." Like, okay, but seriously, most women don't have butts like that unless they're spending all day in the gym. Like, and I thought that they looked good. Like the characters spinning around. Like, I agree, they look cool, but it's hard to like get it in context. The big reveal was definitely at the end in the armor.
Yeah.
And what that really made me want even more was to see like, what does this look like on the other races? You know, like it looks great on the humans, but how different is it going to look on the other races? So I can't wait till they show a preview of something else.
One of the ones at the end, the one with the darker chainmail type of armor, it reminded me a lot of the Ogre Direlord videos we've seen. I think that was, a very similar design to what we've seen on that before. So yeah, I mean, I love that they're very cognizant of these have to be expandable. Like these, they talked about it again. They're talking about meshes and just different being able to use the same mesh but to reskin it. And although it, there is some limitations to doing that in terms of the variations you can get, it works better. It's more functional. And if you do it the right way, really, it's going to look good. It's going to look really good. And I thought at the end that demonstrated that very well. So
Yeah, I agree. I do also like I understand, well, I don't understand. I sort of understand thanks to the explanation that they were giving how the mechanics work of like creating the armor so that you don't have to have a unique one for each race. You can kind of like have a template that fits on everybody. But I hope that they are going to have like really different styles for different races. Like I don't want my elf ranger to look like any other race ranger. Like I want to look unique. So I hope that
yeah,
they keep that and don't, you know, shortcut on that too much in the effort to finish or to kind of make it easier to actually create it. So
well, it's
yeah.
such a VR thing that they're always trying to find that line between unique and bespoke sort of design, but also making it so it works for them for a small team. What works for a small team, and like you said, it can't be individualized on everything.
Right.
Everything can't be. They just don't have the resources for that, and they never will, or at least not at this point. So they're always trying to find that balance of efficiency versus quality, I guess, or visual impact, maybe is a better way of putting it.
Yeah. As long as my elf looks cool, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
guys?
yep.
Everyone else
Rangers.
could be horrible, but the elves gotta look good.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep. So, right on.
So
Anything
funny.
else on your mind?
Nope, that's all I got. Thanks, guys. Love
Right on.
the after show. It's my favorite part.
Thanks, Sarah. Cool. We'll talk to
Later,
you soon.
Sarah.
see ya,
See
Sarah.
ya.
All right, let's hear from the other side of the house now. Let's bring on Essen. So Essen, unmute yourself and undeafen yourself, and I'll bring you in, and we'll see what the other half has to say about what we saw tonight. There we go. Hey, Essen, how's it going?
Hey.
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 So what does the other half of your household have to say about what we saw tonight?
Oh, I love my wife, especially when she's wrong.
Oh man, don't say
What was
that.
she wrong about?
About like how normal women don't look like that. Well, normal women aren't and run around in dungeons 16 hours a day doing
Right.
intense physical stuff, right?
I don't know where
Yeah.
you're hanging out. That's people I know do that. I don't know
That's
what
where I always found my women, in dungeons, right? Oh, that went dark.
Wait,
Sorry, I
no,
didn't mean for
Nathan,
that.
no.
I didn't mean for it to be that dark.
Oh,
I didn't
boy.
mean for it to be that dark.
Check Nathan's basement right now.
next show will be from Nathan's basement, so I can verify that.
No, but like we've seen like that the trend, the side by side, the trend in Western games versus like let's say Eastern games. Where in the Eastern games, like Korean games, like the women are just like they make supermodels look ugly, right? It's like ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
But in like the Western games, they're like all the like what was the space one that came out a while ago? The Andromeda Mass Effect, right?
Yes,
Mass
yes,
Effect,
yes.
yeah.
The women in that game and the women in the new the redhead with the bow. I don't know. I didn't play it.
Yeah. What's her face? I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Like all the women in those games are like they might be dudes. You really can't tell. It's pretty androgynous. It's like they went to a grocery store and just like picked out the normal looking people, which,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I saw Horizon Zero Dawn is the game you're thinking of, and
Yeah, you
I
got it.
agree. I mean, I thought that design for a female model was really, really good. I mean, it's a beautiful game, don't get me wrong, but there was something very, very progressive about that design, and I really appreciated it. I thought they did a great job with her character model. So I mean, and that's one of the things I was talking earlier about how the models, the old models that Pantheon had, I thought they looked a little older, more mature. The same for the male and the female both. I thought they looked more mature, and I kind of liked that, because I my ideal fantasy world is more on the realistic or gritty side of things,
Rougher
I guess you would
side.
say. Yeah, like less cartoony and less fanciful, I guess. And I thought those models kind of represented that. So I just don't want to see them go too far away from that with regard to like you say, some of the Eastern games with the exaggerated features and all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't think they would ever do that, and I don't think that's what we saw tonight, but it just as a conversational topic.
Yeah, I just
Good
want to
point.
balance, right? Like if back to Horizon Zero Dawn or whatever it is. If you look at a screenshot of the voice actor and a screenshot of the character they made, it's like that voice actor, she's nice to look at. That character, like, whoa, what happened? It's like it's like night and day. And like, agreed, the Eastern games are absolutely insane in the other direction. I just want like a nice balance in between, right? I'm not asking for much. I think probably asking for a lot.
I think too that like what I think is missing, and I'm not telling Pantheon to add another couple of months of development to add this
Oh
feature.
boy,
I'm just saying,
here we go.
all I'm
Don't do
saying
it.
is I do think what's missing is like, why are we so clean? We're like rolling around in dungeons, like blood splattering. And I'm not saying I need blood all over the body like they do in certain MMOs, but what I'm saying is we should be dirty. We should be a little dirty. I feel like it's a medieval world. We shouldn't be so clean. What we run through the river and it just happened to have soap in it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't even make sense.
Yes.
So that's my personal take on MMOs. Generally, is like, why are you so clean, dude? Like that makes no sense.
I
Get a little
remember
dirty.
Nathan watching you play Mortal Online 2 for a bit there, and you were so impressed with how the dirt maintained on your character, and then you went in like the river or something, and it kind of came off. But
Kind of
I
came off a bit.
remember your
Yeah.
commentary during that. You're like, "Wow, I cannot believe the dirt is sticking to my shins and my calves and all that stuff." You
I
were very
like that.
impressed.
Just like in real life, I'm dirty.
Yeah, I'm dirty. Yeah.
But guys, we have to change the topic because Draq says the auto mod in chat is going crazy with our discussion of body parts and now adding dirty into the mix. So listen, anything else in the stream?
Not
catch your eye?
good. It's not
No.
good.
It's not
I
good.
I
Okay.
think to cap it off, I think that the big test of like, did they go too far? Did they not go too far? Is, as Sarah is saying in chat, a certain slider, and we'd be able to change the size of a certain female aspect. I think that's the line. Are you going to do it or are you not going to do it? Big controversy.
Wait a minute, though. I got to say something. As long as you can't go unrealistic, I don't see the problem.
Okay.
Because let me say
Okay.
this: there are plenty of women who want to make a character the way they want the way they wish they looked, right? And I know that goes in the opposite direction too, but I'm just saying, like, I think that having customization, we shouldn't always look at it as it's dirty, because sometimes it's just about making, and also there are lots of many sizes of different body parts, right? And I don't see the problem with allowing the character to do a reasonable amount of it, right? We don't have to make it, we have to go absurd, but
Nathan's
reasonable.
trying so hard to not
Trying
get
so hard. It's so hard. It's so
He's
hard.
right though. He really is like absolutely right. Like I get a little personal here. I've
Oh boy.
I've spent some time with a number of women who've been endowed, and like they can't wear anything without being stigmatized as like trying to be sexy. It's like, no, they're just trying to wear a shirt, right? It's tough. It's when you're endowed, it's tough to find clothes that fit right. It's tough to find clothes that aren't revealing when they shouldn't really be revealing. Like, it's challenging, and the idea that just because you have that aspect of your body like puts you in this box and there's no getting out of this box, that sucks.
Yeah.
Back to video games.
Back
Oh
to
my
video
goodness.
games. What
We
else
just
caught
went-
your eye? Anything else, or is that it?
Yeah, there's the one thing is that I think this confirms my belief of alpha in the fall of 2023 with character models being ready in the spring. That makes sense to me.
Okay, yeah, that's a prediction. Yeah, we did hear at the end. I mean, there was chatter in the VR stream about the question about the next PA test, and so it looks like we're going to hear next. They're going to announce it in the PA Discord next or tomorrow. I guess Ben Dean was there saying tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, and
The
getting the characters all done by spring puts some perfect timing for the alpha release right there too, right?
That'd be great.
Yep.
That'd be great. Right on. All right, Essen, I'm going to throw you back in the green room, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, fellas. Yep,
Yeah.
it got weird. See ya.
it always gets weird when
It
Essen's
just
here.
got weird.
He is the instigator of insanity.
What's this really confirms is I'm going to spend like, I don't know, 3 months making characters because they have if you pledge before the game comes out, you can pre-make your character before the game launches. So I'm just I'm gonna spend like 3 months making every single one of my characters and getting like all fine-tuned before the game comes out.
Dude, we're gonna stream just a 2-hour session of us making characters.
Totally
Man,
doing that.
We're doing it.
Yep, totally.
Yep. All right, let's go next to Man of Rohan, our musical friend, the creator of many a fine video, song, YouTube content.
I feel like since Man of Rohan's here, we should definitely play the sea shanty.
Oh, let's do it. Let's make it his bring him in song. So I'll bring him in, and then you hit the button. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so Man of Rohan, unmute yourself, and I'll bring you in. There we go. Okay, hit it, Draq.
Soon may the Pantheon come to bring us friends and MMO fun. One day when the beta is
I didn't hear it, but maybe everybody else heard it.
Oh, they heard it.
They heard it, yeah, okay.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I was just waiting for it to play. What's up, Man of Rohan? How's it going, man?
Hey, I didn't hear it.
Maybe it didn't go through. Maybe it didn't go through Discord.
They said Sparrow says they heard it, so it's all good.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Thanks. I appreciate you playing it. Well, we all took part in it.
We
so
did,
it's
absolutely.
excellent.
If Desrin and Daimos were here, we'd be the full choir.
We could do the live version.
Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants that. Just in case anybody doesn't know, this is a little P plus Bean. We were very much elevated by Man of Rohan in that song.
You know how when you hear a pop song and you know that they can't actually sing, but auto-tune is doing all the hard work? That's basically what was going on there.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of music magic happening. No worries. It's all good.
Music.
I mean, that's how we always sound. It sounded great.
That brought Daimlos out of chat.
Yeah. His first comment of the night, he comes out as in defense of his musical abilities, which is legit. So I can't argue with that.
Yeah, it's very good. I really, I guess, I had just really a couple things. I'm excited about the bones. I know I mentioned it in chat, but as a joke, but I'm serious. You look at the arms and you look at the calves. There's a model of the new model now, and that's very exciting. You see the bones, you see the muscles, and if you pay attention to folks who do modeling, and that's serious. They have serious systems behind all of that, and it's exciting to see. And man, is that head crazy! And I had no idea. I just keep thinking about it, how crazy the old head is. It just without the hair and compared to the new one, it's unbelievable. But
my thought has always been like, how did we not notice that before? How were we not like, what is up with that head?
Why are we playing the pumpkin head game? What's going on here?
Well, I mean, they looked pretty normal, but just to be perfectly honest, I did feel like they were off. I don't know if everyone else felt like that, just a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like they're too big is what I always thought. Like the head was too large for the body is what I thought.
Well, now we know why. The cranium is enormous. So
they all lost 4 intelligence, though, the human race.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. They did.
That's the downside.
Maybe. I'd pay that price for beauty, I guess.
No way. I want the stats. Give me the old head back.
Give me the giant pumpkin head. I
don't care what I look like. Yeah. Well, and I think that, you guys mentioned some of it, and I don't want us to do it. I don't want Pantheon to do it this way. But I thought of when I saw how um, elastic the face was moving around and such. I thought of Ion. Do you guys remember that MMO where you were
Mm-hmm.
a bird
Yeah.
creature and you sort of, and the craziness of what you could do, and there were people with like 3-foot long necks and giant
Yeah.
bobbleheads and
Oh my
just
goodness.
unbelievable things,
Yes.
and it was, I mean, it was interesting, but they, and I, they're working hard. Maybe they can get the armor to fit over the the giant bobblehead and the tiny little neck. I guess, but let's make it fairly normal.
Yeah.
The models that are here, granted they're humans, and I think that I agree with it, Sarah. That's a perfect way to start because we look at humans all the time. We know exactly what humans look like. This is why it's very hard to CG a face
Yes.
in a movie. Is we're always looking at human faces. We can tell the tiniest little detail being off, and it hits the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
And this is a video game, and it's all a video game, so great. So I think that we can see the difference between these two, but we can also see those things like this is what a regular waist should look like, ish. Within reason. There are people who have much smaller and much bigger waist. I just looking at the difference between the female and the old female and the new female. The old one had like a 16-inch waist, and then the new female has a pretty normal size waist compared to So I think they've done a great job. The new modelers, Duarte, and who was the other one again? I
Tara.
forgot her name. Yeah, Tara.
Yeah,
That's
Tara,
right.
yep.
Great
Yeah.
job.
I want to go back to something your first comment. You started talking about the bones. I thought Duarte had a really interesting comment about that because they were talking about the old rigging had a problem with smoothing animations, and because it's a group focused game and there's going to be a lot of group play, that's a lot of animation data being transmitted, which I had never really thought of. But less bones, which he said they reduced it by about 30%, equals more performant, right? So and this is one of those things that I feel like there's games out there we've all played that they're kind of like they've figured out some sort of secret magic that nobody else can really do, or like something that you're like, how are they doing this? Like it seems like other games struggle with this, but this game seems to do it no problem, right? And I feel like this might be one of those things. And I'm very much like just speculating here, I guess, but the reduction in the bones and now having more control over them, he also said, gives them a lot more fluidity, and the animations are going to look better, and it's going to perform better. So not only is it a better aesthetic, but it's the most important thing, it's more functional, like I said in the beginning.
Right, and they have the loops or whatever those that she was talking about, the animation loops, and that they can that's what they're actually moving and rigging with, and that was I got to go back and watch the rest because I was there were so many things to look at. I wasn't paying attention to the words very well.
Yeah.
But and then really just the last thing, and I'll step off. But I was really impressed by the way that the belts fit and cinched the material underneath them, and just they looked like they were actually sitting on hip bones.
Yeah, good
And
point.
I'm sure they were, right, because they've got I'm guessing anyway. I'm guessing in my surety that they were sitting on hip bones and they're actually tying together things, and it looked real.
Good
In as
point.
much as it should, in a stylized way, it's fitting within the confines of the world for sure, but it's fitting correctly, and I think that's great.
I actually saw that too. I wondered if every belt was going to be like looped around like that too. I was like, that's interesting. Like, because usually it's just like clasped, like right there, right, and then it doesn't go anywhere. There's no extra anywhere. So that was
it just kind of melds into itself.
Yeah, it melds into itself. It goes nowhere. It's perfectly fit. Every belt perfectly fits.
I love that it's just that it looks like they actually put it on.
Yeah.
I think Therek, you said it right. That there are things that somehow folks at VR they figured out this magic potion, this magic thing. We've got Kyle creating vinyl, and we've got these secret things that no one seems to know about, and VR has been able to through much stuff, right? Through much pain, figure out take the time, I should say, to really figure out what is going to make this game last and really sit hard with us, if that's not quite the right word. But it feels like it's gonna be a deeper kind of a thing for everyone who plays. So loving
Yeah.
it.
Agreed. Well said. Right on, man. Well, thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you later.
Later,
Yeah, see you
man.
guys.
I see you, man.
Hey, see ya.
Bye.
All right. So one more before we get to the final guest of the night. Let's do Glorfendel, who's in the green room. So Glorfendel, I'm going to pull
Oh.
you. Yeah, new guest. I don't know if we've ever
New
talked to
gu-
Glorfendel before.
I don't think so. Not that
No.
I
Okay.
remember.
Well, let's go. So bringing him in.
And a wizard never.
Hey, Glorfendel, man. How's it going? Hello.
Room for a second.
No. Oh, come on, man.
Glorf.
Oh Lord, hang on.
There you
There
are.
we go, guys.
Oh,
Okay, there we go.
yay.
All right,
Here.
let's see. I want to just make sure that this is still. Can you still hear me? Or did I cut
Yep.
out?
No, you're
No, I can
good.
still hear you.
Okay, good.
Sound
I
nice.
just wanted. All right, I just thought maybe for a second I didn't have something running in administrator, but anyway,
I
no,
was ready to be
this
so
is my first
disappointed.
time here.
Yeah. Welcome.
But really looking forward to chatting with you guys some. I do
Yeah.
want to go ahead and start off and bring back a topic or two. With the head sizes, I will point out that there is luckily no correlation between skull size and intelligence. So you may have wanted those extra 4 points of intelligence, but don't worry, you're not losing them.
I don't
Alright, nice.
want to hear that. I don't like that comment because I've had to buy big hats my whole life. Like I always have to adjust them to the largest setting, and I always use that to justify, like, say, "Oh, I'm so much smarter than everybody." So
Lack of
don't.
correlation doesn't mean
Come on,
that
man.
you may not still have that higher intelligence. So you can feel good.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you for saving me from that. I appreciate that.
Your large head is special, Therek. That's what he's trying to say. It's just
What
you.
he's trying to say is your head is large for no reason.
It's just a lot of empty space in there, really. That's all that's going on.
And clipped.
And one other thing I want to point out or bring back is the concept of the chest size. Imagine with all the scalability and changes of all the other features of characters, if every woman ran around with the same size.
Yeah.
It wouldn't feel
odd.
right.
I agree.
I totally agree with Nathan. They need to be realistic. There's no reason to go Dolly Parton or plus, but not having it be adjustable, it's just not going to feel right when you're in there with a large amount of women characters around.
I feel like a lot of games. I feel like a lot of games just put it in there just for the attention of it. Like they'll make it ridiculous just because they know it'll get views. People will make videos about it and make jokes about it, kind of thing.
So long as it's realistic, and if we consider armor coverings, and if we stay away from really heavy boob armor and bikini armor and all those sort of aspects that accentuate it to a abnormal level, it's not even going to be something you notice on a regular basis. I don't think. If it's done right.
What if they did? Because this is a game about risk versus reward. So what if you had really big ones, but that meant you had back problems in later levels?
Once you go past a certain level, then your dexterity starts to go down.
When do you gain that back if at a certain level you require a back brace?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. We got to get off this topic.
Yes, we probably should.
Anything else you got for us?
Oh yeah, there's definitely more to cover. Those were the previous topics that I wanted to just hit on real quick. The skills we've seen, there's definitely a lot of interest there. There's a lot of possibility in what they've done. I really have to sit down and watch it again, pause it, read over each of those skills, really study those interactions, because there was a good bit of data on most of those. I would love to go in detail, but I can't, NDA and such. But I really want to get in and experience the changes with the flash bomb the smoke trick now, because those two playing together to do the leaving combat that you used to be able to get in one ability, it's gonna take some getting used to, I think, and whether or not I like that is gonna take getting in and experiencing it. But yeah, I'm definitely not gonna knock it without having to get in and try it yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you can go on our YouTube channel and find there's a video that Minus made a while ago when he was before he was with VR, where he went really in depth on the VR on the Rogue abilities and did a really good breakdown of them. And I think that was one of the commentary that was in there. So I know I'm gonna go back and looking at that because I wanted to compare it to what they were talking about now and see what the difference is. So and that's like I said, we got permission from VR to show that, and that was something that hadn't been seen before. So you can kind of go back and do a compare and contrast, I guess.
Yeah, and yeah, there's ways I can compare it still, but I
Yeah.
just can't go into detail
NDA,
talking
yeah.
about it. You know that. I'm sure some of you are in there too.
Yeah.
There's also really looking forward with what they've done with these classes, with the ones they've shown on the last stream. I'm really looking forward to, crossing my fingers it's at launch, but if not, when it comes out, what are they going to do with bards? And really curious about Necromancer too, because of a tidbit we were given privately that, again, I guess I can't discuss.
Yeah,
But
those are big question marks. You know, we don't really know anything, so we have to wait and see, right? And we can't really go much further than that.
But for the rest of the video, there was a lot of it almost felt like a let down or doubt coming in when I'm looking at some of those side by sides of new model and old model T posing, and neither one of them looked good in some of those, and I really started questioning it. But once those animations came up, once they put them in armor, that changed it. Those things are rocking.
Yeah. I think everything, you know, it's hard to start, like we were talking about earlier, it's hard to imagine things or until you have seen them in game or you see them demonstrated in action. So yeah, just the T poses. I mean, everybody's seen T posed characters a million times in video game development if you're following video games.
And it's not a knock on the pose. It's just the skin of the characters, and some of them were very janky, for lack of any term coming to mind. It just didn't look good.
You talking about the mesh that you could see? Is that what you're referring to?
No, I don't. I don't mind the mesh as they tweaked it. It was
right.
I really wish it was showing in the background here, but there were some when it was very pixelated, and it wasn't just because it was shifted and it had to refigure it. It just looked bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
The gray model, when it was gray, is what you're talking about, right?
At the beginning? when it had the simulated horizon, it had the ground with the blue sky, and in that situation, it looked like they were trying to show this is what it really looks like if you're in game, and it really looked bad there. Okay. Once it got past that and got to this here where it's showing armors and such, this is beautiful.
It was the human female model, I think, is what you're referring to. But I remember it looking a little pixelated too. But I think it was just because they were zoomed out or it was at a certain distance or at a certain ratio that it wasn't set properly, and then they zoomed in just for the purpose of showing that.
Yeah, it was video quality, I think.
Yeah,
of like
maybe.
Zooming in on an artificial. Yeah, that's what I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Right on, man. Well,
and then one last point.
Sure.
Once it showed that Gambison, the padded cloth, I saw that and I instantly thought, we need to get at least the armor portion of this out to Shad with Shadiversity. Get some take on what he thinks with those armors coming in.
What I don't know what Shadiversity. I don't know what you're talking about there. Do you guys know what he's talking about there?
I got nothing.
No,
I don't know about it either. I don't know Shad.
Okay, he's a YouTuber. Mostly does medieval armor weapons.
Oh,
Really big
okay.
on HEMA, European fighting, castles. Does a
cool.
lot
Yeah.
of video gaming. A little bit of tabletop gaming stuff.
No,
But
you
he
should.
but he
Yeah,
loves going in on armor and such.
yeah. Show him. Message him. Show him the video. Let him turn him on to Pantheon and see what he thinks.
Yep.
Right on. Well, Glorfendel, thanks for jumping in, man. Good to talk to you for the first time, and you should definitely come back for
Nope.
the next
Yeah,
one.
man.
No problem.
Epic first take, man. Hit it out of the
Yeah,
park.
good job. Yeah, heck yeah.
Have a good night, all.
All
All right, man.
Bye.
Have a good one.
All right, you guys, you ready for a special surprise time?
What could it possibly be?
What could it possibly be? We are lucky to have our friends, Minus and Roenick, sitting in the green room, ready to come on and talk to us and share their thoughts after post stream and hear what the community had to say. Having listened to everybody was saying, see what they have to say. So, what do you guys think? Bring them on,
Yes.
or just end the stream?
Good.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. There we go. Minus is in.
I'm gonna go with
And
the yes.
Roenick is in. Hey, boys, what's happening?
Howdy.
Howdy.
What's up?
I've never heard us introduced like that.
Very
Minus and Roenick. Oh wait, sorry, hang on a second. And it kind of reminds me of like Stedler and who's the other guy? The Muppet, the guys that used to hang up the Muppets.
Oh, the two guys in the balcony there.
Yeah, the old
yeah.
balcony. That's like Minus and me, like the crotchety old dudes in the.
Yeah, you guys are a great pair. I think somebody. What were we
Waldorf. There you go. Thank you, man.
Waldorf. Somebody
Yeah,
actually knew the
Waldorf,
name.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
I think during the stream you guys got what was it? Tombs and Tomes. I think that's a great name.
Tombs
for you
and
guys.
Tomes is way better. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Hey, so great stream tonight, guys. That was really informative. You've heard all the community, sort of feedback and reflections on it, and anything from what you heard that you wanted to comment on, or anything else from the stream that you didn't get a chance to tell us about.
Minus, you want to go first?
Either way, man.
Go for it.
You're all hopped up. Like I was like gonna let you go, get some of that energy out. I was afraid you're gonna knock your mic over with like banshee powers. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'll go. So yeah, a couple things. Just the point that was just brought up there about the screenshots with the colored undergarments on, I think is the people were talking about. That was a clip taken out of Unity Engine, just quickly. And then it was zoomed in a little bit. So as you can see with the models in full motion when they were on their turntables, don't worry about any of that. That's just a way to show it off in a creative engine. So it's nothing to worry about there.
Nice. I think the feedback's been great. I've heard. I think a lot of good points were brought up. I think a lot of people were impressed by what they saw, and your interview I saw during the stream. Your interview with Tara and Duarte was excellent. Just the short, sweet interview. I think people really enjoyed that.
It was a lot of fun. Two extraordinarily talented individuals. So thankful to have them on the team. Super professional. We were under some pretty tight deadlines to hit some things for that, and they both delivered amazingly. So it was just a pleasure to work with them. And one of the most rewarding things for me is to be able to actually introduce some of these behind the scenes creators that are helping bring this game to life, helping speed things up. And it was just, they were phenomenal. I couldn't say enough. It was fun. We had a good time doing it. And hopefully that came through in the interview.
Yeah,
it did. It really did.
Yeah, for sure. And they seemed super like natural at it. Like they were just like going with it. Like it just felt really, really just natural. And like they were just talking to you in a room. So I like everyone else said, it came off really good.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, so, they were the rock stars of that.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Roenick. Go.
Well, I was just a couple things. First of all, I want to say, obviously, the more we do these streams, the more you can see the impact that Minus has had on the content. He just has such a natural, gift for not only these interview type situations, but just the ideas that he brings to the table and the work ethic that he brings. So I hope that's coming across to everybody, the hard work that he's putting in. So yes,
Absolutely.
shout
For sure.
out to my partner in crime.
Oh.
The other thing I want to say is, I'm watching the discussions about the models, and in particular the female models. And I know we've kind of talked about this before, but one of the things that Brad had sort of mandated in a lot of ways was he wanted he wanted to present a female model in game that his daughter that he would be proud to show his daughter. Like that was a big thing for Brad. And I think these new models, even more so than the last ones, I feel like really show what we were trying to achieve. There will obviously be custom. We're talking a little bit about the customization now, and that's obviously still evolving as well. But I think the core sort of idea that Brad had with the female in particular, the female human in particular, is really exemplified here. And I think Tara just kind of like knocked it out of the park, and Dort obviously, in his part of it. But I think having a female artist on the team is super important in that aspect, because they bring a different perspective, and again, I hear the comments, and yes, it's a fantasy, and yes, there are women that look like this, and yes, we all want to escape, whatever. But if you have this as sort of your default option, as your sort of template to work off of, I think it's setting a positive example for not only us as a game, but for how we sort of look and treat the women who we play with, and I think that's important.
That's good, yeah. And I do got to say that it was very classy, and I don't think anybody expected Pantheon to go unclassy with the models,
Right.
So
yeah. No, I think that just hearing that it just feels great to hear that. I mean, that's what I would expect. That's a kind of a attitude and approach to making this game that I would expect from VR, and Brad's legacy living on in that capacity, in that just this one little aspect of the game is just really moving to hear that. So that's a excellent thing to hear. So knowing that you guys were coming on, I mean, I took the opportunity to come up with a few questions ahead of time, and I know Draq and Nathan might have one or two, but I'm gonna throw this out there because we can customize the characters' faces now. Will there be a toggle so I can turn off ugly faces that I don't like?
No.
No.
No face toggle.
I have to listen. Like, these nightmare creatures are going to be haunting my dreams for
so
the years.
Don't get too crazy about how much customization there will be. That isn't what he said is we're looking at all those options. So I don't want it to get out there that we're saying you're going to be able to create these nasty looking creatures. There probably will be things that we want to keep in the realm of the style.
You mean like
there's
man
a lot
buns?
more.
Man buns,
yes.
For sure. Is that what
Did you
saying?
hear my woo?
Oh, I heard it loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't. Let's not take some exciting news and turn it into what the worst thing that could happen. Obviously, we're pretty, as David just said, with like how the female models will look. There is going to be a realm we want to keep them within, I'm sure. There'll be customization, but nothing to take you out of our world and immersion, I don't believe.
That's all we do, Minus, is just take things to the most absurd level possible. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, see, and I know what you were doing there, Therek, because I think in the chat for our live stream, someone said, "Are we going to get a Minus rant?" And we really haven't. I haven't really had a rant in a long time, and you tried to get me with toggles in the first question you asked. I see what you're doing.
He did.
My next question is about Transmog, if you don't mind.
Oh God, here we go again.
Roenick, I gotta ask, man. I'm sure. Hopefully, you've seen it in chat. People are demanding it. We need your hairstyle. You have the best hair. We need it in the game. How possible is that's going to happen?
Oh man, I don't know. Have you seen Adam's hair? Adam's got pretty good
hair.
Adam's
got good hair too.
Yeah.
Adam's got good hair. But there's something very specific about your hair that I feel like we really do need the Roenick cut. I really do.
I just think he never washes it. I mean, I think that's the trick.
Is that the secret?
Oh, no.
That's not
the
true.
secret, Minus. I know a lot of people who would be more beautiful than they are, and that's not the secret. I'm telling you.
Oh
something.
Do we need to hit a
Like-
pledge goal to have Roenick's hair? Is that a thing? What do we need to do to make
There
this
you go.
happen?
David, you could run a hairathon.
A hairathon. I like
there you
that.
go. We could definitely do that.
That's fantastic.
No, I want to say we'll have to have Minus's beard then. Although I have to say I miss the old sort of Wario mustache, Minus.
No, it could come back. It could come back.
I feel like that should make a comeback.
Yeah, you can't put Minus in a box. He'll think of something to come up with something to crazy hairstyle or crazy mustache style. All right, Draq, did you have a question for the guys while we have them here?
I did. I had one question for both Minus and Roenick. So we've gone through all the new class abilities for the 7 classes for pre-alpha. What is your favorite new skill among all the classes?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh.
And why?
Yeah, that's
why?
a tough one.
What do you think, David?
Well,
what you got?
I mean, I brought it up tonight. I'll be honest with you, I haven't had the opportunity to play the Enchanter as much as I've been able to play the Shaman, only because we're just sort of implementing a lot of the stuff in now. But the Discordant, what's the name of that spell? Gosh, I'm gonna Therek, help me
Dissonance.
Hold on.
Yeah,
the Enchanter ones.
Yeah, with the has like the kind of wild magic.
Yeah, hold on, I'll find it.
I think it is Discordant Dissonance.
Discordant Divination.
Divination. There you go.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think that's a cool kind of like play on something I've never really seen that too much in game, where there's sort of like negative effects for using a powerful spell like that. Because I think the concept is it's going to be a really powerful DD spell, but it's also going to have some possibilities of some kickback there.
This is what I wrote down when I saw that spell. So just for the people in chat that don't know, it's a direct damage of a random type to a target. So, and what I wrote down is this is a great idea. We saw this in Halner's Cave with the creatures that had elemental traits, those imp creatures, right? Where if they got damaged by a certain type of damage, they actually became more powerful. So if you're going to use this spell, and you better hope it doesn't get that wrong type of damage on them, right? Like it's it could be very situationally beneficial or very situationally problematic, right? I love that. I think this is
a perfect Roenick spell right there.
Yeah, what could go wrong? Exactly.
What could go wrong? Yeah, and that's the whole thing, right? When you see skills, like there should always be a chance that things can go wrong, right? Like that's the tension.
Yeah, it's the tension, and I feel like I mentioned wild magic from D&D only because we're playing D&D every Monday nights with Nathan Napon as the DM.
Nice.
Sorry, it's a little plug there.
Appreciate that.
Yep. Yeah, you guys should check out the show. It's me and a bunch of improv comedians. They're kind of hilarious. But on point, I think taking things from obviously Joppa's gone extensively on about Breath of the Wild, but also like from tabletop games or other sources outside of MMOs and finding unique ways to bring them into our game, I think has been one of the sort of cool things to watch, and especially since Adam's come on board too. He's got a brain for this kind of thing. So, that would be my spell.
Yeah, it's really cool. I noticed that trait in a lot of the spells that were shown tonight. There's a lot of them that have potential trade-off or something you need to be concerned about. I thought the changes to the Enchanter and the Mez was really, really interesting. How it's basically like there's an ongoing cost to it, right? Like it's if you're gonna Mez a bunch of stuff. I just want to write it down so I don't get it wrong here because I did write it down. They added a perpetuation cost,
the
so mana being expended over time per Mez target. That's amazing. Like you guys, you said Adam, and what we've seen of his stuff so far. This feels like one of his ideas. I don't know, but really cool idea.
I could just see a group of mobs, and all of a sudden the Enchanter just runs out of mana, and like 6 mobs are all of a sudden like on everybody, and it's just like over.
Yeah, what you guys are doing with abilities like that, with that risk factor, is it's like story makers. What you're doing here is you're putting things in the game that will create memorable stories. Sometimes funny stories, sometimes really sad stories, right? But that is the point of a freaking MMO, right? You need to have these variables that allow things to happen,
Yeah.
And then to kind of tie into that question, with talking about the cost and everything with the Mez spell, obviously I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it's on a disoriented target. You're gonna save some of that, so that cost will go away, and there'll be less negatives on a disoriented target. So when you look at the rogue abilities now, if you're disorienting with maces, with their ability, now this is going to play into helping with that crowd control aspect. So it's pretty interesting, with anyone who's listened to me talk about the way that the Pantheon Rogue works. Obviously, I think at this point you're going to have at least a couple ways to play a Pantheon Rogue, and we'll see how that ends up playing out. But you can get in there and start damaging and be a monster in that aspect, or you can play it as a little bit more support, which I'm a big advocate that we keep that aspect that we've sort of shown in the past, and I was really into. And it's interesting for me because I'm a dagger rogue through and through. Everybody that's ever talked to me knows, like, I believe very religiously that rogue should only use daggers.
I was just about to ask you about this. Yeah, I was just about to ask you about this.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because when the weapon techniques, I feel like, cannot be understated for melee fans and probably tanks as well. The depth that it adds to the layers of combat and decision making that needs done, but also it's funny. It's not whack-a-mole at all, which is a big fear. You're not sitting there just smashing buttons. You're making important decisions, but you get to make more decisions, if that makes sense. So instead of just sitting with one resource and saying, well, this time I would like to do this ability, and then you wait, and I'm going to wait a little longer so I can do this one. Now you kind of have different things to use and figure out how you want to play combo and plan out the future and how that's going to play. So the whole opportunity strike that's been added, which is obviously a damage ability, is monstrous. Yeah. In play testing, when I had all my opportunity and I hit an opportunity strike, it is probably the biggest shot that I've seen outside of some crazy wizard stuff back in the day.
Tell us about the crazy wizard stuff.
Draq is stuffing all of this. I can tell you, Draq is stuffing all of this right now.
But yeah, it's a massive shot. It reminds you sort of in games where you see that giant backstab, but instead of having to be in stealth to hit it or just use it as an opener, it becomes a tactic you're able to actually use while you're fighting in any position. So just really exciting about that. And now I am probably going to have to carry some maces, it looks like.
Boy.
We'll see. No more daggers for you. You're crafting maces.
No. I'll be using daggers, but there might be a couple times I need to, pull out a little bit of a beaten stick.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see it I'll believe it when I see it. I don't know.
Full group looking for rogue maces only.
Looking for the crusher rogues.
Yeah, crusher rogue. Yes.
Therek, I'm digging your background, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I love that image from the I think it was on the newsletter on the announcement or for the dev stream tonight. It's so cool. I love that lighting on Sarhirit there, and it looks super good.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun area.
Yeah,
moving forward at night for sure.
I can give you guys a tour. We got to just get minus the halfling reporter out again. Give you guys a little bit of tour around.
Yeah, we need to get him back out on the field. We do. He needs to be back out there.
If that's the price we have to pay, I'll take it. But I mean,
sure. I think of all the things that we've done in the past year, nothing has been more controversial than the halfling reporter.
Here's the best part. I have that entire voice that I created with a bunch of different plugins and stuff. I have it saved as like an easy boom, click it on and I can put it on my voice. So don't worry.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
You have no idea the bumpers I heard back in the day that Minus was so
crafty. That didn't make it.
Voice mods on some of his bumpers make that halfling reporter look tolerable. I'll just say that. Well, I don't want to keep you guys here all night. And we could talk class design and talk these class skills all night, but I don't want to monopolize.
Can I throw one more thing out there?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, parting the veil. I just wanted to talk about that for just a minute or two, and I'll let you guys go. But we've had a lot of people not fully understand like what this new content pattern is going to look like. The developers roundtable not being around anymore. Some people were like worried about we're not getting as much content. We're not getting this. we've obviously David did the first. We were calling it DLC, but David,
Yeah, now we're officially switching it to bring out your divs.
Yeah, bring out your devs.
Bring out your devs. Oh, that's
bring
good.
out your devs. So
like it.
yeah, that'll be good. That fits, I think. So that first episode was really cool, and it's just for VIPs. And the reason we did that is because it's another thing. Like, we want to do something a little special. We want to do something, and let's be honest, with adding in more content, it's a little less production needed because we're keeping it to VIPs. They'll be able to get like an MP3 version of it so they can re-listen if they don't make it, so we're taking care of the people that can't make it to the live ones. But the big thing that I just want to be clear on is nothing was lost. We're doing the developer live stream every week like we just did. Next week we're going to get Parting the Veil. Obviously, if you're unaware of it, it is going to be on the topic of taming mounts and travel in Pantheon. And that's going to be a monthly offering with Chris Perkins, which was our creative director, Japa. Everyone knows him. And myself, really getting into these topics. We want to give definitive, real information. Like, this is what it's going to be. Looking into design docs, talking about ratified design docs, things like that. So the biggest thing is that's going to be a really fun, different content offering. We'll still offer that in Spotify form, so you'll be able to listen to that on the go. I think it'll play to that a little bit better, than like doing the live stream, because live stream is super visual. And then of course we'll still have that newsletter. So, I mean, at this point, and this isn't a pitch for signing up to be VIP, but our VIPs will have content every week, and our non-VIPs will have it 3 out of 4 weeks. I think that's pretty awesome. And that doesn't take away, the occasional fragments of Terminus when they make sense. When there's some big news that's kind of buried in something, we can put that out there to highlight some things like that. So there's a lot still going on. We're going to be doing some social media events, nothing crazy, but, I love the fact that sort of social media has different capabilities. I would love to do some kind of polls and some things that we could use polls for to have a fun little competition on things like Twitter, being able to show off screenshots like we talked about tonight on Instagram, Facebook events where you can share it out to your friends, family, and chat in there. And then Parting the Veil. I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised on Parting the Veil. Like, when we take questions from our different social media, your name's going to be up on the screen. Like, me and Chris are going to be talking, saying thank you, saying, on YouTube, our following friend had this to offer to the community. We answer it. We want to give a little bit back to the community and some recognition for your support for us. So, being able to show that off and highlight that and take questions, we did that sort of, for those that don't know, for the developers roundtable, we did that, from our VIPs. But now what we're looking to do is take a similar concept with Chris and myself and take it from our entire community. We can't get everybody in, but take some of the best questions that are able to be answered in depth and we can speak to and put those in. I really do think that these changes will resonate pretty well, and quality will stay high, even though quantity is going up. So, we're always looking for feedback, and we're excited to kind of hear what everybody has to say about it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. And I think just thank you from us to you guys for taking the time to come on here. I know your day is, prepping for the dev stream probably takes a big part of your day, and then actually doing the dev stream and then hanging out here for 2 hours to the end of the show to talk to us. It's so appreciated. And you guys are great, friends, great devs that we love to talk to, and can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
Well, I mean, honestly, thank you guys, obviously, for doing the show. I mean, you can see the fruits of the labor and the sort of love that we get from the community as we're able to hire more people, and you can see Tara and Dortz, the fact, what the impact that they've had immediately, and we'll be highlighting some other of the newer devs soon too. And you can see the work, but I mean, again, thank you guys for everything that you guys do.
Right on. Draq, Nathan, any final words for our VR friends?
No, just go ahead, Nathan.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, guys, don't forget about what you're doing to book sales with making the healers have to work. So you're affecting a lot of different industries here. Just hope you guys are doing it responsibly. Netflix, Bounty Code pointed out, Netflix sales are going to plummet. So just think about the consequences to the real world when you do awesome things in your MMO.
Well, Nathan, I mean, from what I'm hearing, you're going to be in dungeons looking for girlfriends on your Dire Lord. So, I mean, you'll be fine.
It's a Saturday night in the Nathan household.
I was going to say, you guys said, us stand up. I actually got the whole on demand is out already. It's up on the website. It's out on social media because you guys kept me and David in the green room while you guys were chatting about, women proportions and getting us in trouble potentially. I was able to get a lot of work done, so I appreciate it.
Good. Yes. That way you're like, I never heard anything. I don't know what they're talking about. I have reasonable, plausible deniability.
Tomorrow's meeting is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys. Later.
All right, boys. That's it. Great show.
Great show.
Yeah.
Dude.
Always
have a
always
dev show
appreciative.
up at the end. What?
Mhm.
What is up? That's dynamite.
I hope chat listened to me because I mean there were some interesting little beans in there, some little nuggets, if you will, that I think were worth waiting around for, and if nothing else, just talking to our friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for real.
Before we sign off or before we raid, hopefully Longhouse does not disappear because he's the guy I want to raid. But I want to make sure that I plug Nathan, Mr. Nathan Napalm. Here's a link. If you have been hiding under a rock somehow and don't know about Nathan Napalm, you need to go follow his YouTube channel. But Nathan, what do you got going on this week?
Playing lots of games. Dark Age of Camelot. I started it today, so we'll be streaming that again Saturday, as well as EverQuest 2 on Saturday. Me and Sparrow stream in the mornings. We're playing through WoW Classic, getting all leveled up. We're almost there for Wrath of the Lich King, and definitely come by Mondays when I have the great, awesome privilege of being the DM for Roenick and our group, who are, like he said, a bunch of comedians and writers, and it's a really ridiculously good time. Really good D&D sessions.
Epic. Therek, you got anything coming up?
Just to let everybody know, like I said when we were talking to Desrin, we do the podcast, The Rewind, every Sunday at noon Eastern Time on our YouTube channel. It goes live for the premiere, where Desrin and I are in chat while we listen to the show with you guys, and we can all chat it up, talk about what we're talking about, what you guys think. And we're going to be reviewing this dev stream again. We're going to be catching up because we were off last week, so we have quite a bit of stuff to catch up on. So hope you guys, everybody can join us for that. Again, that's noon Eastern on Sundays.
Nice. And I just want to say what's not on the calendar is that I'm sure that Nathan is probably going to do this too, but Therek and I for sure are going to be making the class video updates for each of the new classes and skills and spells that have been made. So those will be coming out in the next probably 3 to 4 days. So just like we did with the last batch. So look forward to those. They're super fun to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to raid Longhouse. He's an EverQuest streamer. I've dropped in on him a couple of times. He's super fun. Make sure you show him some Pantheon love. Make sure you give him a follow and just encourage him. It's tough being a streamer out there. So everybody have a great night. And we got the 10-second countdown here. So if you got anything left to say, now's your moment.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming out.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great night.